Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is May the 11th, 2022, and we're starting to get our tomatoes out here of the greenhouse, and we're going to be planting some up today on the mountaintop, and then some will be going down in the hollow garden. We have some more tomatoes over here and these here. Now normally I get these transplanted when they're smaller, but I ran out of room in the greenhouses and I couldn't get them transplanted. So I'm going to have to think of a different plan next year for these so that they can be transplanted into larger containers sooner. So we normally put our tomatoes in straw bales, but we had ours in straw bales for I think like 3 or 4 years, and the straw bales completely deteriorated. So with the price of them this year, we didn't buy any, so we're gonna put them in the ground here. Now we're mixing Epsoma organic tomato and vegetable food, and we're putting in some Epsom salts, and we're putting in some ground essentials, compost, and manure. Now, you want to pull your ground from around the top and mix everything in together so that you have everything all nice and mixed up. So, we're kind of making our hole a little bit deeper here so that we can put our tomato plant there in. And you can see we roughed the root systems up on them. They should have been transplanted a long time ago, but I ran out of room in the greenhouse, so that's why they are the way that they are. But your tomato plants will put roots out on the stems, so you can go ahead and bury the stem down. It's going to give you a stronger plant, a stronger root system. So we're putting these here in. Now I did notice a difference. I planted some of the tomato plants in the Jiffy seed starting mix, and I planted some in the Burpee seed starting mix. And the ones in the Burpee actually did do better than the ones in the Jiffy. So I am experimenting with it and seeing which one grows better and which, and I'm making notes so I can continue to improve on the plant's growth and them growing, and which ones like grow better root systems. So this one here is the Mr. Stripey tomato plant. Now this was propagated from a cutting, and you can see the root systems on this is pretty massive. Has a really nice root system to it. See the bottom there. And this is going in a larger hole here. And the root systems are getting broken up on this. Now one thing when you're transplanting your tomato plant, you want to make sure that none of the leaves touch your soil, because that's going to cause blights and diseases. So these were kind of crowded in the greenhouse, so any leaves that look a little off are coming off of the plant. We're taking them off. And we can only go down so far with our soil. But just wanted to show you this one here. So they root in really great from cuttings. This one here was rooted in the Beyond Peat Professional and Organics potting mix. It had a big container that it was filled up with, and cuttings were taken off of the main plant, the one that grows in the greenhouse. And it's a really big Mr. Stripey tomato plant in there, and to try and keep it under control, it was getting pruned. So we took the clippings off of it and we stuck them in a container, and they rooted. And that's one of them right there. There's another one right here that I had just planted here. But if you want to do tomato cuttings, what you do is you take your stem, and this one here, actually this one here is going to bloom. Right there's our bloom. Right there's our bloom coming right there. It's just little yet, but it is coming. And take your stem about right here, cut it on a 45-degree angle, take these leaves here off and any leaves that will be touching the soil surface, go ahead and stick it in your moist potting mix, and you want to make sure that you keep your cuttings moist. We did miss the leaves on these, as this one here was rooting in, and all the rest of them here, and they'll root in for you really nice. So you can
tie up already.
Yeah, this one here needs tied already, so we kind of already have our fence in place and we have our ties. So you can see here what we got so far here planted. Mikey, hi sweeties. He's hot. He was laying in the shade, then he came out here to us. So this one here is tied up here, and that's going to keep it off of the ground. It's going to keep it from laying on the ground. That's where you run into a lot of issues, is when the stuff lays on the ground when your leaves touch the soil. So we have soaker hoses here that we run, and that helps to keep the water off of the leaves, which is another issue that can happen. And you know, you can't do anything when it rains at night, but if you have to water them during the day or something, you can help with your soaker hoses and stuff. Are you guarding the tomato plant, Mikey? Mikey. So we're going to continue planting here. So after you have your tomato plants all planted, I just put the last 3 in down on the end. You want to make sure that you go ahead and get them watered. Now we've had so much rain that we're not using the soaker hose right now. We're using just the water hose, and it's early enough during the day that it's going to, like, if any would happen to splash up on the leaves, it's going to dry before nightfall. So we're not watering the plant itself, and we're not watering the leaves. We're just watering the ground around the plants. Now, if you have a black hose and it's laying out in the sun, your hose water is going to be really hot. So what I like to do is I'll drain that water off into like a watering can or buckets, and then when the water cools down, I'll use it later, so that way then I'm not scalding the plants as they're being watered. So you can see the whole way out through there. You can see the whole way out through, it's all planted there. Mikey found the shade over there. We still have a bunch of tomato plants left over. These here are more Mr. Stripey cuttings that were taken. They are all rooted in. And then we have more tomato plants that we did take out of the greenhouse. And those are over by the greenhouse. They're hardening off a little bit. But you can see how big the plants are. Those have already been tied fast here, so that they're not laying on the ground, and that's going to start them going up. We already have our fences in place and everything else. And another tomato food that you can use is Expert Gardener's tomato and vegetable food. We've used that one before. We actually ran out of the Epsoma, so we had the Expert tomato food, so we just finished the rest of the holes off with that food there. Now you don't want to mix all those foods together. You want to pick just one of them and put one of them in the hole, and then they've all had the Epsom salts mixed in with the planting hole along with the plant food. So if you can't find, you know, the one plant food, maybe you can find one of the other ones. And we've used a few different ones before. It's kind of what we can find, and what we find works. So as these continue to grow, I'll come back with more video updates and I'll show them to you. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button as I put a new video on. Also follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank you for watching, and hope you have a nice day. Bye.